What's up, guys? It's Toby Rosario, and in today's video, I'm interviewing Christian Marin from Orlando, Florida, and we're going to discuss how he was able to scale up to $200,000 a month. So, how you doing this morning, Christian?
I'm doing awesome, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, good. So let's back up and let's talk about what made you want to get into real estate and what were you doing before real estate?
So I was a firefighter. I was a firefighter for 12 years. And around 2010, I got divorced. I had my daughter. I had another daughter. And with the crash, they stopped, giving us raises at the fire department. It wasn't much, but I was sitting there like, okay, well, how am I going to make more money? I'm already working two jobs and I'm struggling, and somehow I stumbled onto Rich Dad Poor Dad, the classic book that everybody reads.
That book is a game changer.
Yeah, I know, man. It's like a switch just went off in my head and completely changed it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna become a business owner. I'm gonna do real estate and I'm gonna flip houses. Had that huge dream. I was like, I can do it. I read as many books as I could, watch videos, was watching HGTV like daily, but I had no money.
Right.
My family had no money, I tried getting my grandparents to take out like a line HELOC on their house, but old school Hispanic people. It's like, you want me to put a loan on my house that I'm almost done paying off to flip a house? Like, what is flipping a house? So that got rejected right off the bat. And out of that, I kept trying. And eventually I got my real estate license, and my idea was, hey, I'm going to go ahead and just do regular real estate for a little bit, learn the ins and outs, get some cash flowing, and then that's how I'll be able to flip a house. Well, I went through Keller Williams, went through another brokerage, and I hated it. Absolutely hated it. They're like, here, call these for sale by owners and try and get them to list the house. I hated it. Like, it was not in me. I hated cold calling. I would sit there for 8 hours calling these people, and they're like, I don't want to deal with a realtor. I even had one guy is like, yeah, come to my my flip, and yeah, I'm interested. I want to see an appointment. Well, then later on, after I did everything, I found out that his wife was a realtor, and he just wanted to know what other realtors were thinking of the value of the house so he could price it out. I was like, wow, dude. Okay. Yeah. So I eventually actually stumbled on a Craigslist posting of another wholesale firm here in Orlando looking for an agent. So, they're like, do you want to work with investors, do these things? And I was pretty interested. I was like, yeah. So I sent in my resume, went in there, and they started talking about wholesaling. And I was like, oh my God, I've been trying to do this. I've read some books, some people are doing it.
How did they explain that to you? How did they explain like what wholesaling is to you?
It was pretty easy. The guy was like, hey, okay, so this is what we do. We get properties on the contract at like $50,000. We then sell it to an investor at $60,000, and we make the $10,000 difference.
But you as a realtor, didn't you like have some suspicions of how that would work? Because traditionally realtors, they don't understand the wholesale process and,
Not really, because I had already read about wholesaling, understood wholesaling and everything. I only got my real estate license because I was like, hey, let me just try and sell some regular houses and build up income so I can flip houses or do wholesaling and play marketing. So that was my whole point, was to do wholesaling.
Okay.
Flipping houses. So yeah, but I've had plenty of realtors that I talk to, and then next thing you know, they're so skeptical. They're like, you can't do that. You're illegal. I've been in the business for 20, 30 years, and you can't do that. And I'm like, well, you can.
Mm-hmm. So what happened after that? What happened after that meeting?
Man, they were like, hey, you just got to put out these bandit signs right there. We have the properties for you. I started as a dispositions agent selling the properties for them. And they're like, you just got to go put out these bandit signs, build your buyers list, and get them to sell. And I was like, that's it? And they're like, that's it. And I was like, when do I start? And they're like, how soon can you start? I was like, I'll be here tomorrow. Next day, I was there at like 8 a.m. and I grabbed signs, went to training, and from then on, it took me 6 weeks to get my first sale. Wow. And then the next week, I did 4 sales.
You're
And
killing
then I was just like going. I was dropping 100 band designs every week just by myself. Build up my cash buyers list to like 300 within 2 months. And then, I'm a very analytical person. So I was looking at numbers and everything. And I'm like, I want to do acquisitions. And the thing here in Orlando, the big wholesaling firms here are all MLS acquisitions based.
What do you mean?
Like all they do is acquire on the MLS.
Oh, wow.
Compared to other markets where the big players are all off market, here in Orlando, it's all MLS.
That's interesting.
People do off markets for a few. We're probably the biggest off market wholesaling firm now, and we're doing between 8 to 12 deals every month, just specifically in off market. We have an entire division that's dedicated to just MLS offers. But here, the two biggest players will do 20 to 40 deals every month strictly off the MLS in Orlando.
So they're finding deals off the MLS?
Yeah. So I moved over to the MLS to acquire. And over the next year, I made, personally myself, off commissions, I made $120,000. And I closed 52 deals.
Nice.
All from the MLS. So.
And that was back in 2000, you said?
That was in 2015.
2015. Okay.
Yeah. So then 2015, I was like, oh, I got this. I can do this. I'm going to leave. I'm going to do this on my own. And I was like, I'm going to do this all completely off market. And I had not really studied off market. I had just bought the Sean Terry course like a month before. And I had just gone through it. And I was like, oh, this is easy. And I underestimated the work that it does take to do off market, because it's not just sending out mailers. Like you have to pick the right list. You have to do a catchy enough mail piece. And then after that, you actually have to convert and have these conversations with sellers. Well, I didn't have experience having conversations with sellers because on the MLS, I just submit offers to agents. And I've never done sales in my entire life. So I had no sales training, nothing. So it was very hard for me to convert these sellers. And I quickly ran out of money.
So you spent all your money on direct mail and then you weren't converting those leads, or?
Yeah. I just didn't know what to look for. I didn't know how the conversations. I did get one deal out of it, but we call it here in the office, we call it a lay down. Essentially where they're like, hey, I just need to sell right now, and they give you the price, and it just works. It's so easy. But you can't survive off that. You have to be able to find motivation in the sellers, have conversations with them, and I didn't know that. I wasn't trained on it yet. So one thing I did is I went back to another wholesale company and started working as an agent again. And it was actually a blessing in disguise, because that's where I met my partners now. And so then another year later, we decided to start capital. We decided to start our own company. By this point, I had really learned how to do off market. I had gone to training, and I already had a VA. I was taking calls in and everything, and we had a pipeline of leads coming in and converting. So we started our company Capital in March 2017. It was just the three of us sitting in Panera, negotiating, doing deals. And we finished 2017 and grossed $330,000 in revenue.
Wow, that's amazing.
Started building a team, brought in one agent, had one acquisitions agent, a couple of sales agents. And then in 2018, we're projected with the closings that we have expected for this month, we're going to be closing around 1.1 million.
Nice. Congrats.
So, thanks, man.
So that's a good segue. So can you talk about how you were able to go from 300,000 to 1.1 million? Like what was the biggest shift? What did you do differently within that year to grow that fast or that much?
So one of the biggest, it was a couple of components. One was we increased our marketing. We reinvested a lot of our money. We didn't take any money out of the company to pay ourselves for 6 months.
Smart, man.
Yeah. So when we started, we all put in $5,000. So we had $15,000 for marketing and stuff. And we just reinvested every single thing that we got back into the company and scaled as much on the direct mail as we could. Nobody took a paycheck out for 6 months. After 6 months, we took out, what was it? We took out $2,000 each. And then we took out another 2,000 a month. We didn't take out anything the next month. Then the next month we took out 2,500. So we didn't take all the money from the business. We just reinvested as much as we could right back into it. We brought in an acquisitions agent, and she just negotiated very, very well. We trained her, and then after that, we brought in another agent to help with the lead flow. So we had two agents now negotiating the deals. And one of the things that we did was we came up with different systems. One was I worked with her, our main acquisitions agent, to submit lower offers than she was comfortable with, right? I was like, she would come to me and she's like, hey, this guy wants this. We can offer this much. And I'll be like, no, offer even less. And she'll look at me like I'm crazy, like, oh my God. So I got her used to being able to be in those uncomfortable positions where she was able to make those negotiation tactics. And I was like, don't come to me with anything less than $15,000 on the spread. Wow. If not, I'm going to send you back to negotiating. So I worked really hard on making her negotiation skills be better. Then we went through the John Martinez training. And then one thing we did that really spurred us was in June, I shut off all the marketing, completely turned every marketing piece off. Because I noticed that we had about 500 leads that were just sitting there that were not being followed up properly. Okay. So, and I thought it was a lead problem. I went to an event with Mark Evans. I don't know if you know who Mark Evans is. Yeah. So I went to one of his events, and I'm like, hey, Mark, like, I feel like I have a lead problem. How do I generate more leads? And, talking, he's like, you don't have a lead problem. You have a conversion problem. And that, like, turned a switch in my head. He's like, you're right. So I started looking through all our leads, and I noticed that our leads weren't being followed up properly. So on my way back on the flight, I'm like, all right, what do we do? How do we make somebody convert on leads when they're always getting fed new leads and they're going to work the low-hanging fruit? So I was like, we take the low-hanging fruit out. So we shut off all the marketing pieces, everything. And I told her, I was like, look, you have 500 leads. You convert at 25 to 30 leads per contract. That tells me that you should have right there about 20 deals in that pipeline. Right. And I was like, until those leads get put into the correct follow-up system and they're all either marked dead or told no or yes, we're not turning marketing back on. And we didn't turn marketing back on till November. Wow. And the next month in July, she locked up, I think it was like 10 deals with a projected income of $230,000. Nice. The next month, $180,000. And so that really spurred the fact that we really sped up our income to get to 1.1 million, was making sure that we converted. Now we've turned the marketing back on and our conversion works very well.
Okay. So your marketing, how much are you spending on direct mail?
Right now on direct,
or
that what?
Is that all you're doing, direct mail? Or are you
No, so we do direct mail, we do cold calling, we do Facebook, and we do PPC.
Okay. So how much are you spending on direct mail?
Right now on direct mail, we spend $12,000 a month.
And how many pieces is that a month?
That's about 25,000 pieces.
Okay. And then what are the rest going into? Are you going to Facebook?
The rest go into PPC. We spend about $3,000 a month in pay-per-click. We spend $1,800 a month in Facebook, and the rest goes to covering our cold callers. We have 6 cold calling in our team, and our call center team, and that just covers their salaries and stuff.
Okay. And out of all those marketing channels, would you say direct mail is the best out of all those marketing channels?
It changes, man. It changes. So like, like the beginning of the year, direct mail was our best, During the summer, it was cold calling. Towards the end of the year, it's been Facebook. It just rotates. And that's why it's so important to have multiple different channels. But when we started, all we did was PPC and direct mail. That's it.
Okay.
I see we've tried RVM, didn't have very much success with it. I'm going to try it again in 2019, learn from my mistakes and tweak some things. But that's one of the things that I noticed that a lot of people it's consistency. So whenever we start a new marketing thing, we plan for 6 months, no matter what, whether we fail or not. If we got to lose money for 6 months, we lose money for 6 months because you don't have enough data.
Right.
You usually need at least 3 months to have data and 6 months to truly be able to see where things are going. And that's one of the biggest things I realized is that people just give up too soon.
Yeah.
It takes, first of all, if you're starting a brand new direct mail list, it takes 3 months alone for the list to be cleaned out and you to get a good leads coming in. I was told by a wholesaler that to think of it as a faucet that hasn't been opened in a while, right?
Right.
When you first open it, what do you get? That dirty, nasty water. It's brown, it's disgusting, you're not going to drink it. But the longer you leave it on, the clearer the water gets, right? And eventually you have nice, clean, drinkable water. It's the same thing with direct mail. When you first mail it, you're going to get junk leads. Remove me off this list. I don't want to be on your list. I'll sell it to you for $5 million, all these things. and that's going to be pretty much the first 3 months. You're just going to get people that are like, why are you sending me this? Clear me off, take me off your list. After 3 months, you've been hitting this. So we hit the same list every month. That's our thing. It's like everybody, we have 20,000 names. We're going to send 20,000 mailers every month. I know some people are more methodical in their direct mail. I'm kind of just, I'm just going to send it to you. Why do I need to care whether you get it or not? You're either going to get annoyed and tell me to take you off, or you're going to answer me and we're going to have a conversation.
So what list are you targeting?
So we target absentee owners, tax defaults, bankruptcies, liens, and seniors.
Okay. And out of all those leads, which lead source, as far as which list is converting the best? Is it absentee? Is it tax default? Or?
So this year has been absentee. Last year it was tax default.
Okay, so it kind of fluctuates.
It fluctuates. That's why you got to have multiple of everything. You can't just put all your eggs in one basket. You have to have multiple agents. You have to have multiple lists. You have to have multiple marketing channels, because when you put everything on one funnel and one funnel slows down, your business slows down. And that's not something you ever want to be dependent on.
Okay. So how big is your team now? How many people you have?
So we actually had 2 people just quit on our team for Christmas.
Oh,
man, the problems just, problems in business just never go away. It's never a smooth ride. A brand new person might be dealing with getting leads. We're dealing with with people. Now our biggest challenge is not generating leads. It's generating good people to manage these leads and make sure that they're being worked properly. And that's our biggest challenge. So we had 2 people just quit on us. So right now our team but we already brought people in that we already had expected to bring in and add to the team. So now we just had to ramp up the training. Instead of slowly, methodically doing the training, we had to put even more effort and do it faster for them to get up to speed.
okay.
And those are the kind of adjustments that you, as a business owner, and if you're trying to scale, you need to be able to do is you need to be able to have foresight of what can happen in your business. Don't just get caught up on, okay, everything's working great, I'm going to go take a vacation and nothing's going to go wrong, because something always goes wrong. So right now we have two acquisitions agents. We have 2 off-market acquisitions agents, and we have 2 MLS acquisitions agents.
Okay.
And then we have 2 dispositions agents, and we have 6 VAs in the Philippines.
Wow. So you have about 10 employees?
Yeah, and we have 1 transaction coordinator and 1 short sale negotiator.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what do you think is the biggest difference between you and your quote unquote competition?
Um, the biggest difference, I would say, well, here in Orlando, our biggest difference is nobody does off market like we do. So nobody's doing it on a big scale. There's people here that do it and they'll get 1 to 2 deals a month, 3 to 4. But nobody here in Orlando is doing 8 to 12 deals consistently every single month, just to strictly off market. There's some big players that are doing 20 to 40, but they're mainly all just off the MLS.
Okay.
Another thing that sets us apart is we know our numbers. We know our numbers very well. Um, I can pick out and tell you the ARV of a property like dead on spot, and I'm so good. So we just had an investor finish flipping a house. We told them their ARV was going to be 370. The appraisal came back at 385.
Nice.
And that's pretty much how all our investors. So one thing that we take a lot of pride into is customer service, right? But it's not just customer service on the investor side; it's a customer service also on the seller side. So we treat them as two different customers because they are. Our acquisitions agents give a lot of customer service to our sellers. We figure out what the problem is and we help them. We give sellers relocation money all the time. So a lot of times we'll get sellers that are like, hey, I can't move out without money. So we'll actually front them the money and then we'll get it back at closing. They'll
Okay.
pay a fee. We charge a fee. We'll put a mortgage and a note on the property and a lien on it so they don't just walk away with our money. But, we do whatever it takes to make the homeowner be able to move out. My agents have gone out to help homeowners load up trucks so they can move out houses.
Okay.
It's making sure that these homeowners that are in situations, we truly do find out their situation and how we can help them, not just take money from them, not just it's not just about getting a good deal and making money for us. It's these homeowners are in bad distress situations. They've inherited a house. We had a guy that called us, and this was our biggest lead from Facebook. He lived in Texas. His dad lived here, and we had a hurricane come through Orlando last year. When the hurricane came through Orlando, his dad was a hoarder. He was 80 years old, he lived in a bed in the living room and was surrounded by boxes. Well, when the hurricane came and knocked out all the power, he got up, tripped over the boxes, fell, broke his ribs, broke his legs. He had to be airlifted to the hospital. So the son came back and he's like, I'm taking my dad with me. I don't care about this house. This house is disgusting. I don't want it. So we're like, we'll clear it out for you. No problem. We'll take everything out of there. We've given people relocation money all the time. Hey, I need to move out, but I don't have the funds to be able to get a new place to rent, put a deposit down, first month's rent. So we'll give them the money for that. And then on the investor side, because we know our numbers very well. So one of my partners has been flipping since 1995. He's a multimillionaire and has made his money in flipping, rehabbing. He did a lot of the rehabs himself. So we have a lot of checks and balances. So my agents run, they check if they're ever not confident about an ARV, they'll run it through me and I'll run it with them and be like, okay, this is the value. Then they'll take pictures and record it and we'll send it to my other partner and he'll tell them the rehab, confirm the rehab with them. And then after that, then we'll go ahead and we'll put it out. And we make sure, like for us, on flips, our investors have to have a minimum of a 15% net ROI, right? So investors are usually looking to make 20% net profit on a flip, 15 to 20% net profit on a flip. So nothing comes out of our office for less than 15% unless it's an MLS deal. An MLS deal, we're able to go down to 12. But if it's an off-market deal where we control the price that we get it for, we then nothing comes out for less than 15. And that actually has created a feeding frenzy, right? So what ends up happening is when we started, we were like, hey, first person to give us a check,
Right.
That's it. You know, we get it. That's how everybody does it. I just want to get this property sold. And I'm like, hold on. Why are we just selling our properties to investors and giving them the leverage of telling us, hey, I want to offer 5,000 less. I want to, like, you know,
Right.
we're providing a superior investment product. We're giving you a good deal. If you are able to, the whole premise of being a wholesaler is finding deals for investors, right? When you understand that that is the value that you provide to investors, then your product better show that value. And our product is our properties, our flips. Other people are sending you horrible flips, shitty flips that you're just not going to make money, you know,
Right.
right? But if you don't have anything else, you're kind of forced to take it. So all these investors are getting all these deals that are just horrible. And I'm like, hold up, no. There's going to be a standard, you know, just like John D. Rockefeller made Standard Oil. We made a standard of investment that comes out of our company, our quality of product. And so now we don't put anything out for less than 15%. And what this created was we were giving a product out to investors that they just wanted, that it was perfect, you know. And it ended up creating like, hey, I want it. I want it. I want it. So we were like, how do we create a frenzy? So we took what normal real estate agents do on the retail side and brought it over to the investment side. And we started telling investors, hey, we're going to hold an open house, and that's the only time you can see it. One, it helps create this, you know, when investors go see it by themselves, they think, hey, I'm the only one. You're like, oh, yeah, I got other buyers. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure. But when they come in within a 1 hour time frame and they got 10, 15 people looking at this, they're like, oh my God. Oh, okay, so how about I offer you $1,000 more, $2,000 more? And that we started figuring out people were telling us, hey, I want it. I'll offer you more. And we're like, okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to just take all offers for 24 hours. You give us your best offer. I'm not going to bid you. I'm not going to tell you, hey, I got an offer for this much. Are you willing to go up? I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to tell you that we have multiple offers and just submit your highest offer that you feel comfortable. One, that way we're not creating a bidding war where people are then going to be upset with us and say, hey, man, you made me bid this up. You're doing it on your own.
Right. Right.
If you feel that the property, what we're asking for is way too much and you want to offer less, you offer less. If you feel that what we're asking is the most you can pay, then that's what you offer. If you feel you can pay $5,000, $10,000 more because the numbers work for you, then that's it. You know, and we're just going to take whoever's the highest. I can't guarantee you that you offering less or asking price is going to win it. It might, but you're taking that risk.
Right.
So now we usually sell all our properties for $5,000 to $10,000 above asking, usually within 24 hours. And a lot of them are sight unseen. They never even see them because we provide pictures and we provide video to them in our marketing.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you know your numbers. So what KPIs are you tracking? What are you tracking on the business?
So we track how many calls we get. We track how many leads we convert, what our lead to contract conversion is. And we track how many closings we have and the average spread that we get per closing.
And what's the, if you don't mind me asking, what's the average spread you guys are doing?
Right now, our average spread is 22,153 per deal.
That's awesome.
On off market. On the MLS, it's 12,700 is our average.
So what's the percentage from off market to MLS? Like how many deals are you doing off market and how many deals are you doing, off the MLS?
So we do 8 to 12 off market. And then we use right now, because we're just ramping up the MLS division, we're doing about 2 to 4.
Okay. So knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently when you first got started?
I definitely would have learned more about how to talk to sellers and convert sellers.
Okay.
That was in sales. That do role playing, and that's what I would have done first, so that I would have known how you can generate leads. People can call you, but if you don't know how to convert those leads, it's fucking worthless at that point.
Right.
To be honest with
So
you.
you would focus more on sales and how to convert those leads to contracts.
Exactly, especially if you're not a salesperson. You know, I've never had a sales job before. I've never gone through sales training. I went from high school through to the fire academy, and I became a firefighter. Now I have good sales. Like, you know how some people, sales is a skill that can be learned, and I can learn it very easily, and I did, because it's really just psychology and common sense.
Right.
You know, learning personalities. If I'm talking to you, I'm gonna ask you questions, but my questions need to be intentional, so I can send you in the direction that I want and get the information that I want, without you thinking I'm just asking you how much you want for it. That's the key. So a lot of people spend time on, oh, I want the perfect list. Oh, I want the perfect mailing piece. You know, how do I stick out? How do I don't care. You know what? I send the urgent postcard, and I just don't care. I'm not spending this on these pretty little envelopes. Why spend more money when a 39-cent pink postcard works just as well? I'm going to get our response rate is 0.5%, which is standard throughout
Yeah.
the entire country. 0.5% response rate. So all I need is, if I'm getting 0.5% response rate, that means out of 1,000 people, I'm getting 5 calls.
Right.
So if I'm only mailing to 1,000 people, I'm only going to get 5 calls. It takes me 25 to 30 leads for me to convert, for my agents to convert a deal. If I'm brand new, it might take me 40 to 50. So when you work those numbers backwards, you realize that if you're converting at 25, you got to send out 5,000 pieces at a 0.5% response rate.
Right.
You know, if you're converting at 50, you got to send 10,000 pieces. So now you can work backwards, because it's okay. 10,000. Do I send 10,000 pieces a month, or do I need to send 10,000 pieces over 3 months? And that's just going to generate one lead, one deal for me.
Right.
Because of my conversion. So you see why I would advise somebody to learn how to convert better, because if you can convert at 25 and 30, you're only sending out 5,000 postcards versus 10,000 postcards. And I do postcards. Yellow letters are great, but this is my thing. When I think about it, when I'm getting mail, when I get mail, what am I going to, and I get a postcard. I don't care if I don't like the postcard, I'm going to throw it away. I saw all the details in the postcard because I didn't have to open an envelope. Many times if I look at an envelope and I see that it's not from somebody that I know, and I don't care if it's handwritten because I know the tactics, and it looks like it's going to be spam, I'm going to throw it away, right? And then if I have to open it and it's spam, I'm definitely going to throw it away, and I'm not going to deal with you because you frustrate me because I spend my time opening it. So that's how I kind of think. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Let me just do postcards. 1, is cheaper for me.
Yeah.
And 2, no matter whether you want to throw it away, you're going to see my message, because you have to look at the postcard. If it's pink, yellow, green, whatever, it sticks out. You're going to look at it and he's going to say, I want to buy your house. Oh, this guy's, again, another postcard from him. All right, throw it over here, you know. But if you throw it in the trash, you still saw my name and you saw my message without you having to open any envelope or me worry about it. Right.
Right.
So
I know you mentioned you started doing some cold calling. How's that been working for you?
the cold calling has been great. So we've actually generated the same amount of revenue from cold calling than we have from direct mail, but we've done less leads from cold calling. So direct mail, we did, when I checked at the beginning of this month, we had done 18 deals strictly from absentee owners. Absentee owners was our biggest list. So absentee owners had given us 18 deals and had generated $281,000 in revenue. Cold calling, we had done 11 deals and it had generated $267,000 in revenue.
Wow. Yeah.
And the cost was way less because all we do is pay our VAs. So cost-wise, cold calling is the way to go. But another thing of advice that I always tell people, they're asking me, hey, what do I start? What do I do? You got to work through your strengths, right? If you're not a cold calling person, do not cold call. You will fail. That is not your personality. You do not succeed at cold calling. It's so simple. I'm not a cold calling person. I can't call somebody. I mean, I can if I got to do it, but my personality doesn't fit me calling a seller and interrupting them and just converting them. That's not me. I'd rather get you to call me and then I'll talk to you because I'm prepared. I know what's going on. You already have an idea that I'm trying to buy a house,
Right.
and I'm not interrupting it. You took your time out of your day to give me a call, which means you're in the mindset of you want to talk.
Right.
Versus me calling somebody while they're with their kids or their husband or in the middle of work, and I'm calling you and I'm like, hey, I know you didn't say you wanted to sell your house. I don't even know if you do want to sell your house, but you know what? I got your number out of, data, and I'm giving you a call because I want to buy your house that's over here. And it's like, who are you? Like, what? No, I don't want to. Get out of here. Leave me alone. So that's not my thing. That doesn't fit my personality. It's going to get very discouraging for you when, so my agents call 600 people every day, each one of them. That's their minimum. 600 dials. And out of that, they might get 1 to 2 people that are like, yeah, I want more information. So imagine that. If you're sitting there for 8 hours calling people on the phone and you got to talk to, now their connection rate is a lot less, it's around 10%. So they're going to connect with around 60 people. But if you're talking to 60 people every single day and they're like, no, what? Fuck you. Get out of here. Why are you calling me? It can be very discouraging. Like, this sucks. I'm not ever going to do anything, By the time you might get the lead that's interested, you're so demotivated. You just want to get off the phone. You're just like, yeah, man, you want to buy this house? You want to sell it? Yeah, what do you offer me? I don't know. You know what? I don't even want to talk to you. Let's just get off the phone. Because you just want to get off. And then imagine doing that. Again, you're getting 1 to 2 deals a day. We convert our cold calling around still the same, about 25 to 30 appointments or calls or leads from cold calling. So think about it. If you're dialing 600 people a day and you're only getting 1, for you to get to 25 to 30, that's a month. At 600 times 30, you're calling thousands and thousands and thousands of people. It can get really, really discouraging and you would give up. So yeah, it's cheap, it's easy, but if that's not your personality, don't do that. Do the direct mail. Do what fits for you because you want small successes. And that's what's going to give you confidence. That's what I see a lot of people is like, hey, I'm doing this because it's cool. I'm doing RVM because everybody's telling me to do it. But it's not for you yet. It's not yet. So we have a team of people that are trained in cold calling and they'll do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not for it. And if I had to start it all over again, I can guarantee you cold calling won't be my starting point because it'll just be by myself. And I'm going to use my strengths, my personality, and my unique ability, which is not calling people, cold calling them. I'm a warm caller type of person.
So if you had to start all over, you would still focus on direct mail?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So let's stay with that. So let's say you started all over, you have zero, you closed the deal and it was $10,000. Where would you allocate those funds? What list would you buy? Where would you get the list? And kind of break that down, how you would spend that money.
I would get my list. I would get an absentee owners list right off, straight absentee owners. You're going to get the most people for it. And I would get it from ListSource.
Right.
ListSource is the cheapest.
Yeah,
and absentee owners is the cheapest. And absentee owners is has some of the most motivation. I would get 10,000 absentee owners, and then I would just do direct mail for it.
So you would space it out, or you would do it all in one shot? Would you do it weekly, or how would you do that?
It depends on how much money you have, So if you're going to do 10,000 mailers, you're going to spend $3,700, $3,900, about $4,000, depending on what mail house you use. Postcards can usually be around somewhere in the 40s, right?
Right.
High 30s. So you're going to spend that. If you don't have that money, yeah, you can start with 5,000, and you're going to spend a lot less. but just be prepared that it might take you 2 to 3 months. But if it takes you 2 to 3 months of doing it, right, and you make 10, 15, $20,000 on that one deal, the next month, now you have 20. Don't take any money out. Like, don't take, if you're working a job, continue working your job and use that money to just scale your marketing.
Right.
If you make a $5,000 spread on your marketing budget should now be 5,000 plus whatever you had before. So let's say you had allocated $1,000. You're now at $6,000 for your marketing. Just continue to um, increase that. If you get $10,000, well, now you got $10,000 to spend on marketing. So that list, remember I said 10,000 names for $4,900 or $55,000. Well, now you can go 2 months at that, right? Now you can mail 10,000 people at 2 months. And that should generate you now, if you're converting at the same rate, that should generate you 2 deals.
Right.
Because let's say you're converting at 25 leads per contract and you have a 0.5% rate, it takes 5,000 mailers for you to get 1 deal. But now you're sending out 10,000 mailers a month. Then in that month, based on the numbers, you should be able to still convert 2 deals.
Right.
So that's how you scale.
I think the biggest mistake I've made is like you said, not reinvesting right back into the business. I think we see these checks and we don't think, well, I mean, me personally, I didn't think to reinvest. Well, I would reinvest a little bit, but I wouldn't go all in like you said. And I think that's a big lesson that I've learned. And I think a lot of people do the same thing. They don't treat it as a business. They have to understand, like, in order to continue to get deals, you got to continue to, continue that marketing and get those leads in and build that pipeline.
Exactly, man. And like I said, we didn't eat for 6 months. For 6 months, we took no money from, and that's 3 guys. 3 owners take no money out of the business for 6 months, right? And then after that, we took out $2,000 every other month. I mean, unless you're living in the Midwest or in some shack, that's not, you're not affording, you can't live off that. But we made a commitment that we know we needed to scale, and we can't go ahead and make 10,000 or 15,000 and then say, all right, man, we're going to take out $8,000 and then we're going to reinvest that back into the business. That's not how you start off a business. You have to be able to commit to it. And if you have another job, that should be your income. You don't take anything. And I don't fault people, because I've done it. I mean, when I started with that other company and I started making money, I spent it. Oh my God, I call it the new money syndrome.
Yeah.
When you broke your whole life and you get some extra money, you gonna spend it. Them Yeezys you wanted to buy, you're like, I can buy them. My wife wanted a Super Nintendo. We went and bought a Super Nintendo for no reason, just because we're like, yeah, you know what? I've always wanted one. She's like, I always wanted one. I want to play Mario Kart 64. Let's go buy it. Like, we just spend our money. It was coming in for me and it was going right back out. Next thing you know, I'm looking at my bank account. I'm like, damn, I'm still in the same position.
Yeah.
But it took me losing that to realize that, okay, I can't just get my money and spend it. Right? That was a good learning lesson. And so now whenever we get money, like, our money is allocated into different accounts for different things, and we're on payroll, and that's it. That's what we get. And everything else goes into profit, and we use it for different projects. You know, we have a property management business that we're looking into expanding into. We're looking to expand into multifamily. We're buying a building like this office that I'm sitting in. We're under contract right now to close on it, and it's a 7,000 square foot building that we're buying for $850,000, and we're going to put $150,000 into renovation. So we're going to be all in for $1 million. And that's the thing. That's what we're able to do because we're reinvested. We got a couple flips here and there that we're doing. So that's one of the biggest things that people have to be cautious of, is when you do get your money, you got to reinvest it back in your business. And the first thing you got to do is just scale your marketing up as fast as you can.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. So as we continue to wrap up, a couple last questions here. So a year from now, where do you want your company to be?
So our goals for 2019 is to be at $3 million in revenue. We're looking to expand into other markets. by 2019, being at least 2 other markets. And we're going to be looking into expanding into multifamily too.
Okay. Okay. And so I know you mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad. So what are some of your favorite books that you would recommend to somebody out there?
Rich Dad Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich. I actually like The Science of Getting Rich, which was before Think and Grow Rich. The Master Key is really good.
Who's that one by?
I can't remember.
Master Key?
But the Master Key was actually the original Secret.
Oh, okay.
That's where the Secret got all its ideas. And the Master Key actually teaches you how to meditate.
Awesome.
And it's a 21-week process. You read a chapter a week, and then it has an activity that you do at the end that helps you be able to take control of your mind and make your mind generate what you want it to do. It's a really great book for you. So like one of the exercises that you got to do like the first week is for you to sit still for 15 minutes.
Okay. Wow.
And like you find out that that's really hard. Like if you got an itch, you can't scratch it. So, but what it allows you to do is for your mind to be able to get stronger to control your body, right? It's that willpower. The next one is you got to try and clear your mind completely of all thought. And when you actually do that, you realize how hard it is you can only do it for a few seconds. When you start, it might be a fraction of a second. It might be just 1 second before your thoughts, like literally no thought. You can't even think of, I'm not thinking of anything. Like clear your mind. But what that book teaches you is with each skill every day, you learn how to make your mind manifest what you do and guide it versus you having all this clutter in your mind and all this white noise that just you can't think clearly and you can't create because everything that in this world that we have is created through our minds. So if your mind's not focused and always thinking of different things and has all this little white noise subconsciously, you can't make things appear for you in the physical world. So what the Master Key teaches is you how to control your mind. So all these little things. And every once in a while when I'm meditating, one of the first things I do is I clear my mind completely and get out all the white noise that's sitting in there, distracting me from where I want to focus my mind and energy into.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get into that. So last question. So what's the best advice you would give to a group of people? One piece of advice, what would that advice be if you were to give it to a group of people?
Regarding what? Real estate, business?
Real estate, business, life, anything.
My piece of advice would be to no matter what you do, stay true to yourself. Don't change your personality. Have fun with it and enjoy the ride. Don't try and be who you're not, and find your unique strength, right? That is one of the things. So I am the integrator in my company. I am the operations manager because you can literally tell me we want to do this and I will break it down on step by step of how it will be done, right? My other partners are not that. They cannot break stuff down and create it. They are visionaries. So if you're the visionary, you need to find an integrator. If you're an integrator, I actually think being an integrator is the better one because you're actually able to be a visionary while also being an integrator easier than you are to be a visionary and be an integrator. Right. Because you can see where you want to be. Like one of my partners, he can see where he wants to be, where we want to go. And he'll tell us, we call him like Yoda because a lot of times he'll give us advice. He'll tell us, this is what we need to do. Like, all right, we need to expand the company or we need to hire more people. And it's like, okay, but why? We just need to. I'm like, or he's like, we need to, so one of the things he would always tell us at the beginning of the years is like, we need to figure out how to make more money off the same list and not through direct mail. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I feel that we're buying the cow and we're just eating the fillet and throwing the rest of the cow away. We need to eat the whole cow. I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, direct mail is so easy. Like we've got the data. All we got to do is scale because the numbers. And he's like, yeah, but I don't want to scale just spending money. That's how can we do it with the same list and make it cheaper? And I'm like, you tell me. You're coming out. He's like, we just got to do it. I know there's a way to do it. So that's how he is. He can't. So then I'm like, okay, well, you know what? We're going to do cold calling. We're going to do RVM. We're going to upload this list into Facebook and we're going to hit it. And we're going to do retargeting to the list. So like now we're generating leads from the same list in different funnels.
Right.
So he's like, this is what I'm talking about. We're eating the whole cow. So he couldn't put the pieces together, but he had the vision. I didn't have that great of a vision. I was more like, you know, the data's here. The data works. Let's just keep doing what we know is works. And he's like, there's a better way. So find what you are. Figure out who you are. Are you the visionary or are you the integrator? Yeah. And that will really help you figure out where your business needs to go and what people you need to bring into your business. And also, if you have a partner and you're both integrators, you're going to have an issue. And if you're both visionaries, you're going to have an issue.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like I'm like your partner. I'm more of a visionary. I can't like put all the pieces together, but I see it in my head. I just don't know how to integrate it. So,
yeah, exactly.
definitely.
That's why I said it's easier to be an integrator than a visionary because I figure it out. I just need sometimes somebody to pull the reins back on me because I can still continue to grow. I might just do it not as lean, and I might spend more money than somebody that's a visionary and it's like, hey, we got to reduce costs here. So, you know, if you're a visionary, work on being an integrator or bringing an integrator into your team.
Yeah,
as you scale.
great advice. Man, I really appreciate your time, man. I think you dropped some really good advice here. So I hope people can take that and run with it. Where can people connect with you on social media? Any Facebook? Where can they connect with you?
You know, so you can find me on Facebook. My name is Christian Marcel Marin. Or you can find me on Instagram at Christian Marin _official.
Okay. I'm going to put that in the links below. So
yeah. Okay. Or you can shoot me an email, cmarin@capitalrepros.com.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, man. You take care.